All right, let's get it. Sir Walter Raleigh's colony vanished over 400 years ago. Scientists are still looking. It's one of the nation's great mysteries. The first permanent colony of English settlers in what would become the U.S. founded in North Carolina in 1587 by Sir Walter Raleigh disappeared 3 years later with virtually no trace. Now, this was one of my favorite ghost stories. This is my shit right here. I have read almost every single report that has ever been published on the history of Roanoke. Yet, I live about an hour away and I still haven't gone. I gotta do that at some point. But now, archaeologists hope a new search for the lost colony will unearth clues about what happened to 117 men, women, and children who vanished and were never seen again. The First Colony Foundation, a group of archaeologists, is partnering with the National Park Service for a series of digs beginning this week at the Fort Raleigh National Historic Site. This dig includes new ground that's never been tested archaeologically. Jamie Lanier, a cultural resource manager and historian with the National Park Service, said in a statement. So it's very exciting to see what may be found. Scientists will dig for clues about the lost colony's disappearance. Sir Walter Raleigh, a famed English explorer and among Queen Elizabeth I's favorite subjects, by the way, was tasked with establishing a colony on Roanoke Island as England was trying to expand its reach across the globe. The expedition that would travel to the island on North Carolina's Outer Banks in 1587 ultimately formed the first permanent English settlement in North America. The land was previously home to the Carolina Algonquin people. Of course, no one knows what happened to them, right? Hey. Some of my favorite conspiracies, or like, I guess they're not conspiracies, but just, potential outcomes, are that the settlers of Roanoke merged with native tribes. That's a very possible thing. For those of you that don't know, I delved into this. In the early 1700s, that is to say about 100 years after this colony was destroyed, in the early 1700s, there was a reporter and an author that did a tour, actually, of native tribes and was trying to be very friendly with them and trying to get, history about them and learn about their people. And they found a native tribe in the area where some of the indigenous folks there had blue eyes and very pale skin. Potentially offspring of the white settlers that came over and merged with the colony. I'm just saying these are all possible outcomes. But 3 years later, when a resupply mission returned to Raleigh's colony, none of the previous inhabitants were there. The only clue to their disappearance was the word Croatoan carved onto a wall. The dig occurring this week is focusing on a previous expedition to the area in 1585, when a group of military men and scientists scouted the land for Raleigh. Now again, another thing about the lost colony of Roanoke that's super interesting to me is that it wasn't abandoned, as in all the people just left. Disappeared mysteriously. The logs that they used, the housing, right, all of their supplies were also torn down. So it's not like they actually genuinely packed up and left. Because what happened was Sir Walter Raleigh was supposed to come a year later, but didn't because of shit going on in England, because England fucking sucks dick in hell, right? So they basically felt abandoned and they ran out of supplies. So what they did was they actually tore everything down and moved somewhere else, and that's the last clue that we got. The search will occur on several sites, including a metallurgical and science workshop set up by Thomas Harriot and Joachim Gans just a few years before the permanent settlers arrived. Archaeologists will re-excavate sites where previous searches may have missed or misinterpreted soil changes called features. To better understand what was there, according to the Foundation, some artifacts have already been discovered there, but scientists have also used ground-penetrating radar to identify new areas of interest. Last year, the team of archaeologists found shards of pottery they believed may have been owned by members of Raleigh's colony. The public is invited to watch the digs in person. Yo, actually, I might... Hold up. How can I do this? How can I watch the digs in person? Hold up. This is an article from yesterday. Hold up. Hold the phone, folks. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. How can I do that? All right. I'm going. I'm gonna go. I'm looking. First colony, okay. I'm trying to find out how I can do this. Anyway, folks, that's going to be the show. Thank you all for watching. God bless Roanoke. I think it's one of the coolest stories. I also just love history. And I love, like, the parts of history that we don't know. Like, I love, like, all, like, you know, like, I love the sculptures that you find. And then, you know, there's a lot of problems, obviously, when it comes to colonizers murdering and committing mass genocide. And, you know, that's horrible. And, like, I you know, it's one of those things. But, like, I love when we actually discover things about ancient civilizations. When there's, like, a new, like, Egyptian, like, tomb found or explored. Or do I need to pee again? Yes, I need to pee, so that's why the show is ending. I love that shit. Mysteries, ancient civilizations, amazing. When they find, like, a new cave, right? Like, that's cool as hell. Love that shit. And so I understand that the history of America is problematic. I get that. That being said, I'm a huge Roanoke fangirl, so that's all I can say. All my homies love Roanoke. And I'm trying to figure out how I can go there. I'm looking. News. Okay. There's also, like, another thing. There's another aspect of the Roanoke thing that's super cool. Underwater cities. Don't get me started on underwater cities. Do not get me fucking started on underwater cities. Otherwise, the show will be going on for another hour. But there's another aspect of the Roanoke thing, and that's DNA testing. Because if they can find any DNA of the... And this is like the thing that's super cool about DNA. Is like people have been trying to find out what happened to Roanoke, right? For a long ass time. Right? And they were just digging and looking for, like, pottery or, like, fucking clothing. But if you can find, let's say, like, any sort of human remains, and you can verify, like, let's say with, like, what clothes they were wearing or, like, other sort of features, you can verify the DNA, then you could do mass DNA testing. Huh? 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 I would give up my DNA to someone if they, you know, told me it was for the Roanoke project. But anyway, that's all I have to say. That's today's show. I love Roanoke. That's all I got. And goodbye.